Is this happening again? Gosh, how silly of me. I'm so sorry about that, guys. It's just been a while since I've done one of these and just get a little nervous to do a review. But, we're here. We're alive. And LSU Tigers are in College World Series. So sorry, that was actually really disgusting because there's water dripping down my beard. It's fine. Okay, so I'm here to review Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, sequel to the hit 2018 animated film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. You did not see that. So, without further ado, let's hop into the Spider-Verse. Why don't we? I think we shall. I'm not going to go super in depth about why you should watch this movie or the myriad of reasons why. In my opinion, it was a better movie than the first Spider-Verse film. Not only was the animation a step up, and the animation so much more immersive and well thought out with the characters, but also it seemed that the characters were going in a much deeper direction than in the first film. Now, all that is to say, I do not remember the first film that much. I was in a weird spot when I first saw it. So, for some reason, it doesn't ring that many bells with me. So bear with me when I may or may not rag on it a little bit. That's just because I don't remember it that well. But I remember it being good. I just remember one thing in particular. Kingpin was a cool villain. We had already seen him once. I was kind of burned out on Spider-Man at that point. This was before No Way Home. So all of those factors had to be taken into consideration in my personal opinions about Spider-Man as a franchise. Now, with the inclusion of No Way Home, post-Avengers Endgame, and a post-Avengers world, there is more liberty to make these kinds of really intriguing genre films and play with the superhero monolith in whatever way you want to do so, if you will. I don't think Sony is necessarily the best media conglomerate to own the property rights to Spider-Man, but with what they've done with everything that they do have, I think they've done a really good job. And the reason why I mention all the characters in this movie is because every single character, so spoilers, LOL, for Across the Spider-Verse, every character has a defining moment in their life that's known as a canon event. All the versions of Spider-Man have to lose somebody very close to them, aka an Uncle Ben, a Captain Morales, or an Aunt May, for example. They have to lose those characters in order to become Spider-Men, or Spider-Women, or Spider-Beings. That is integral to the plot of this movie. I think you can't really go on further to talk about the characters if you don't discuss the very, very crucial themes of agency and predestination / determinism in this movie. That's what the characters are grappling with the entire time. It's unfair to make Across the Spider-Verse without even mentioning those themes. Much as in my supernatural vids, I love to talk about the binary between these two themes, but in this film, it is overt text. Miles feels so alone and feels like he can carry the weight of the world on his shoulders without anyone ever knowing his true identity. Versus, on the other hand, He doesn't really know how much other spider people who can advise him, how much he has to lose in order to become the real Spider-Man in his reality. Yeah, this might sound a little cold and calloused, but the way the movie executed these conversations, these quieter moments, the conversation between Gwen and Miles on the upside down shot of the clock tower overlooking Manhattan. Oh my gosh, it's breathtaking. Absolutely stunning. Gwen says in every universe, Gwen Stacy falls for Spider-Man. And in every universe, it doesn't end well. While I love that these two are challenging the norms of what it is to be Spider-Man, they have a certain arrogance towards how they're approaching things. Now, other spider people are coming in, and Gwen is considered one of these other spider people. I think it's really rich. It's a really rich text that she's the one saying this, but she's also grappling with her own journey. She feels like she can't really open up to her friends. I mean, the movie literally opens with her doing a remarkable drum solo, might I say, and ignoring her bandmates, ignoring her friends, ignoring her father, and trying to take on the crime of New York City alone. That is really juxtaposed with the other spider people. Like, I forgot the black woman Spider-Man who was pregnant. I forgot her name. There's Peter B. Parker. There's Spider-Bite, the girl who's in Nueva York via digital interface, I think it was. I can't remember. I've only seen the movie once, but I want to see it like 500 more times. These different versions of Spider-Man or a spider being are going blindingly unquestioning the idea that they need a canon event in order to become a spider being and take on the great power, great responsibility lines that we hear across the Spider-Verse. That's key to Spider-Man as a character. And when Miles finds out his dad is going to be that person who is going to die, he starts challenging this idea. And he starts trying to run and do all kinds of crazy stuff to prevent his dad from meeting this grim fate. Excuse me. To see where that ultimately gets him at the end of the film, and for it to be a cliffhanger, it almost, this might be too high of a praise, but it felt very similar to the ending of Infinity War. I loved Miles seeing the face of his alternate self and realize without the spider that bit Miles on Earth 42, that Miles became a villain. I thought that was a fascinating turn and flip of what free will does, what the binary between predestination or determinism, theology, determinism and free will actually boils down to. All that being said, I cannot speak more highly of this movie. The animation, as I stated at the opening bit of the video, is breathtaking. Absolutely stunning. On Earth, I think it was 1910, where our original Miles is from, it has kind of these color halftones that make up the background, and everything is just so comic-y. It looks like it's right off the pages of a comic book. It's splashy. It has these film grids to distinguish when Miles is having a thought, or when a character's having a thought, or when other characters are like having a phone call or having a chat in two unrelated places. It's just so cool. And then we go to Gwen Stacy's world, and it looks like it's a watercolor palette. And you can see like the Guggenheim, the art museum that they have the first battle in, is just covered in watercolor stripes, and it's just breathtaking. Nueva York looks really scientific and futury. Mumbattan looks very culturally relevant to that part of the world that it's based off. And then Earth 42 is just feels very dark and grim and gritty. Each universe had its own color palette, and I think that's amazing. It really distinguished the world building, it really distinguished these different variations of spider beings and even spider punk. Like, his look was amazing. It looked like a newspaper cutout that was constantly being changed and constantly being toyed with. That was beautiful. The real twist with Miguel O'Hara being the primary villain or antagonist of this movie was really sweet. He was a nice foil to Miles. I keep wanting to say Peter Parker because we're so used to having Peter Parker as our main spider being. But Miguel O'Hara was a really cool foil to Miles because in a way, he's right. He has a point, and he's already experienced a loss to a degree of not getting the family that he wanted, but yet he's trying to tell all these other spider people how everything is supposed to play out in a way that's like really the villain trying to play God and being a bit hypocritical, but he's still right. The Spot didn't necessarily do it for me as a villain. I guess we'll see where that goes in Beyond the Spider-Verse when it comes out next March. All in all, like, these are my positives. Like, I have such a hard time with any complaints about this movie. That being said, there are a few.
Sorry about the disgustingness of the shot, but some quick complaints I had about Spider-Man and Across the Spider-Verse. Sometimes the animation was a little jarring. The movie did have some fat on it in terms of pacing and just jarring visuals at points. The opening credits, even though I really love the glitch effect, was quite... Not to mention, for an animated film, it was quite long. You know me, I kind of love long films, but this one was a bit long. And all in all, I think those are my very, very minimally invasive, what is happening, complaints of the movie. That's literally it. I mean, one of the best movies I've seen in a long time.
I have not seen a movie quite like this in a long time. And it was so well made. Character development, the ideas and the themes, the true understanding of the source text on which this movie is based. Like, Spider-Man as a character, the creators of this movie, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, or maybe the other way around, Lord and Miller, they had a true understanding of who Spider-Man or Spider beings are as characters. The great power, great responsibility line is a thing you saw in the Tobey Maguire movies. It's the thing you saw in the Andrew Garfield movies. And it became a thing you saw in the Tom Holland movies, and it's now a thing that you see in the Spider-Verse films. You cannot talk about Spider-Man as a character without talking about the weight of power and the weight of responsibility and what it means to wear the mask. The two are interchangeable. And that's something this movie understands so well. And it's just making me want to go back and rewatch No Way Home and go back and rewatch all the Avengers movies. But I cannot give this movie any higher praise. It is the best movie I've seen in 2023 so far. And while I did have my complaints and nits to pick about this film, I have to give it a 9.2 out of 10. It was that freaking good. I want to see it so many more times. So, thanks for tuning in. And as always, you better freaking remember.
Driver picks the music.
Shotgun shuts.